So I'm going to make a quick video about how to do the basics of Lightburn. So first thing I'll do on a Mac, if you look up Lightburn, should be the one with the dragon coming up. Okay. So Lightburn is the software that tells the Lasercutter what to cut, how intense of the laser to use, and how quickly to move the laser. So let's make an imaginary shape right here. Alright, so I've got some sort of box. Let's imagine maybe that's the piece of wood that you have to work with. And let's say I want to cut it into this oval, and I want to type physics into it. Now, at the moment, it's not particularly aesthetic because everything's kind of off-center. So how about some things I might care about. Oh yeah, I got to be on the mouse tool. Maybe I want to center it. So if I click on this and hold Shift and click on the ring, I can go to Arrange and then Align. Maybe Align Centers. You can see we did that. And let's say that's all that we wanted to do. So I could highlight these two things. Well, I guess let's go. So I want to cut all the way through the piece of wood on this oval. So I'll click maybe blue. I look at the power settings. Now 1295. I can show you a different document. 1295 is what goes all the way through basically most things. Let me see if I can find that for us real quick. Let's do a new window. Boss laser settings. This is a document that I have access to that I'm not sure if you guys would, but that's why I'll include it in the video. That way you can see it right here. Alright, let's see if that needs to be any bigger. Alright, so for instance, if you're cutting acrylic and you're wanting to engrave it, you would need to have the settings at 112. Now, we're at 1295, so we're basically, we would basically engrave at the settings that we're at. But if we're doing something like MDF, which is the kind of brown crisscross looking stuff, cutting through that would be 1090, or I guess this is from when I was doing a bamboo project, 1295 cut all the way through. So 12 speed, 95 power, cut all the way through bamboo. So I put the outer ring on 1295. Hopefully that'll cut all the way through. Maybe I'll put this word physics on a different color, so I'll put that on red. And I do want to make sure I'm watching these output things, so maybe I'll turn on the output for red. A speed of 500 at a power of 8.5. I think based on 500 8.5, let's see. 500 8.5 was for engraving just a line on birch plywood. So again, if that was what I was doing, I would do that. For if you're making a neon sign or something like that, you probably want to do a cut on both of them. So I'll turn this one actually just to, I'll just make physics also be on the blue layer. So we'll have no red layer, just everything will cut. Alright. Alright, and then if those are the things that we want to cut, maybe I would, oh, sorry, before we get to that. Sometimes it's helpful to know the size of the material that you're trying to cut on. And so up here, right, I pretended like this black square rectangle was the piece of wood that I have. What's nice about actually setting those dimensions, so let's say it was exactly 600 millimeters, that's 60 centimeters, and it was 200 tall, Now up here where it has the lock button, that means it's going to scale everything together. So you notice that when I change that to 200, that's no longer 600. So I'll just undo real quick. I'll unlock, turn this to 200, enter, and then I can relock it if I want to. Okay. So I'm able to see, okay, yeah, sure enough, it's fitting where I want it to fit. Maybe I want to toggle the size of this oval. I could do that up here. At the moment, I don't need to do that. So let's say I want to cut this out. I would go first. I would take a USB, plug it in. I would say save UDF file. The UDF file is the type of file that the Lasercutter will read. At the moment I have it set on cut selected graphics, so that's why I had to highlight everything first. If I don't have that turned on, it's just going to do everything all at once. But I'll do cut selected graphics. If there's multiple types of cuts, we'd have to look at the layers here. But we're not really doing that in this video first. But here we can go to preview and see that this is exactly what the laser is planning to do. So I always like to look at the preview before I actually hit send on it, because material can be expensive and it's hard to undo things. So I like what's going on with that. One more thing that I'll actually teach us how to do real quick. So on this blue layer, I'll just double click it to get some advanced settings. It's been a little while since I've done this. Here we go. Tabs and bridges. So if you're cutting in and it'll make all of the words fall out or something like that, it can be really nice to have tabs or bridges. That means it'll cut basically everything in the full line except for these little nubs. So let's do some automatic tab. So we can see all these green spots is where it would put in a tab. I don't need a ton of them. Whoops. How about per shape? I don't need a ton of them. Okay. Maybe I will do spacing. There we go. That's the direction I'm trying to do. I don't need them to be very big. 0.2. These settings you might want to double check with an actual engineering teacher. They've done these more, but just showing you where this menu is. So I'll say OK. So then I'd say save UDF file. It would go, I'll call this physics sign. Once it's saved on here, on your USB drive, you'll take the USB drive and you'll put it into the laser, and that's where probably a different video would need to start and explain how to use the laser. But those are some basics of Lightburn. I will show you guys some more in a different video.